function of cosine. In order to understand the function of cosine, what I'm going to do, I'm going to graph the function of cosine. So as you can see, this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. The point of intersection of x and y-axis is this point, which is origin O. The values that I'm considering on the right of origin is pi over 2, pi, and 3 pi over 2. And the values that we are considering on the left of origin is negative pi over 2, negative pi, negative 3 pi over 2, negative 2 pi, and negative 5 pi over 2. And the values that we are considering on the y-axis is negative 1 and 1. Now, let's graph the function of cosine. And if we do that, we will get a graph something like this, where the function is defined for all values of x and the minimum and the maximum value of the function is negative 1 and 1. The domain of cosine function is R because it is defined for all the values on the x-axis, and the range is negative 1 and 1 because the cosine function gives the value negative 1, which is the minimum value, and the maximum value is 1. So basically, the value of cosine function lies between negative 1 and 1. The periodicity of cosine function is 2 pi because cosine function repeats itself at an interval of 2 pi. Now let's talk about some other properties of cosine function. So as you can see, this is my 4 quadrants. This is my first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. The value in the first quadrant is from 0 to pi over 2. In the second quadrant, the value is from pi over 2 to pi. The third quadrant is pi to 3 pi over 2. And the fourth quadrant is 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi. The value of cosine is positive in first quadrant and changes from 1 to 0. The value of cosine is negative in second quadrant and the value changes from 0 to negative 1. The value of cosine is negative in third quadrant and the value changes from negative 1 to 0. And the value of cosine is positive in fourth quadrant and the value changes from 0 to 1. And this is all about function of cosine.